Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here. Now, before I begin, I just want to make you guys aware. I'm still suffering from my sore throat, and it is hit or miss sometimes. I already recorded this part, but about 30 minutes of the audio got messed up, and that part was almost an hour long. So what I'm going to be doing is trying to make this part better, more violent, and more chaotic. So, with that being said, this gives me a chance to redo something, and let's get into it. Now, in the last part, a number of events have happened. We had Izuku. Izuku was isolated on an asteroid deep out in space, and he had Reed Richards come to him because Reed did not want the Reality Stone on Earth. If all the stones are in one location, Thanos may succeed. However, if one of them is hidden away and left to be virtually untraceable, the Mad Titan will never find it. That's at least the hope. And right now, the invasion began. Thanos got on Earth, and Izuku took out an eighth of the man's fleet in his initial attack. He then went to Earth and took out his main ship. And Thanos, he was a lot more alone whenever Iron Man flew in and hit him with a massive uppercut. Now, Deku tried to tell the Earth's heroes about what they need to do. They need to take down the Mad Titan and take down the forces currently invading their planet. He bought them a few seconds. So right now, they need a plan. And currently a lot is beginning to happen. The heroes, they are trying to gain their bearing. Tony Stark and Reed Richards have already begun their own attempts to try and stop the invasion, along with pushback forces. And currently heroes are getting orders from Captain America. Doctor Strange is currently on evacuation duty, trying to get people as far away from the battle as possible. Along with that, multiple other heroes are trying to either hold off or evacuate civilians. And Izuku, he does currently stand there. Right now, him standing there with Captain Marvel, Thor, She-Hulk, Ben Grimm, and the regular Hulk. Now, a lot currently is happening. And Izuku, he does at least give out some orders. Him turning to everybody and talking about what's happening. And Thor, we're going to fly up into the air and begin to move towards the battlefield, since Thanos is in that direction. Now, Hulk is going to begin walking off. And Izuku, he does understand. Currently, him going to fly over and turn. Right now, Hulk staring down at Deku as Deku will going to fly up to his level, bringing his hand out and telling Hulk he might need a bit of a lift, because Thanos, he got sent flying. And Hulk got a smile. Deku turning and bringing his other hand up, talking about it, because he's only got room for another passenger, so who's hopping aboard? And Hulk would bring his hand up, grabbing onto Deku's arm. And Izuku, he doesn't wait. Captain Marvel flying overhead and talking about it, currently her holding onto Ben Grimm. And She-Hulk would run over, grabbing onto Deku's arm and is going to blast him into the air with both Hulks. Now, there currently is Thanos. Thanos was sent smashing into a skyscraper and smashing down into a building, before he landed back on the street. And this, it does mean quite a bit. Currently, him going to get back up and look around. Him going to try and give orders to his invasion fleet. Someone flying overhead and smashing directly through some of the threats being posed. As Nova, he has a flying past and bringing his hand up, blasting out his own attacks at some of the people who are trying to back up Thanos. And right now Thor does come flying in, smashing Thanos with a hammer as there acts as Izuku, who would throw his left hand outwards, throwing the Hulk at Thanos. And the man, he was flying through the air. And Jane would go to express that she's going to need a lot more build up. Besides, just give her at least a warning. And Deku does understand. Currently him going to accelerate faster and faster. And Thor, he does smash into Thanos as the Mad Titan would bring his hand up. Right now him going to blast out towards Thor as Thor going to blast out with his own lightning. Hulk coming in and smashing Thanos across the face. And Thanos, he actually is somewhat knocked back and off guard. Currently Deku hitting his air brakes and spinning around. Him throwing She-Hulk actually flying through the air. Right now her throwing her legs out behind her and then trying to do a roll. Currently her throwing her hands out and clocking Thanos in the chest. And there actually is Captain Marvel, who does come flying in. Right now her tossing Ben Grimm down as the man is smashed down directly onto Thanos, burying him into the ground. And Thanos would do one thing. He flips his wrist and immediately lets out a massive burst of power. Right now, him shooting out a massive wave around the area, sending everybody flying backwards. And he doesn't get back up. Currently, him looking towards many of the heavy hitters on the battlefield. And Captain Marvel does come flying down. Her bring her hand up and smashing at Thanos as the man was going to bring his hand out and grab onto her waist. Him bring her up and then smashing her down to the ground. Before, he would look around and express to the heroes, stepping onto her and forwards, talking about how many of them are all quite pitiful. And Marvel would spin around, currently her bring her hand up and blasting him in the back, as Thor would rush forwards and bringing up his hammer. Deku blasting him in the eyes as the Mad Titan, he is blinded. And Marvel, she would gonna fly forwards, smashing at Thanos' back. Thor being able to smash him across the face as the Mad Titan, he does begin to be overwhelmed temporarily. And Izuku, he's got a lot going through his head. Currently, him floating there in the air and trying to at least get comms settled. Spidey is helping evacuate, along with Miles, Kamala, and many other heroes. There's also this Nova kid flying around. And as far as he's aware, there's a few things going on there. Okay, so the mutants aren't on the battlefield. Okay, so things are okay. Genosha's fine. Attilan. Information not prevalent. Okay. Deku looking up, and now seeing Ben Grimm be sent flying through the air, smashing the massive skyscraper. Right now a blast of power following him. And Deku, he has a look up. Right now Thanos stepping forwards and bringing his hands up, smashing Hulk across the face and smashing him in the gut. And over Jennifer Walters does go rushing forwards, just to bring her hand up, her clocking Thanos across the face as the Mad Titan would turn, bringing his hand over her face and then to bury her into the ground. Currently, I'm going to pull her back up and going to hold up his right hand, grabbing him by the throat as she would grab him by the arm. Right now, her bring up her hands and then throwing up her legs. Her grabbing onto Thanos' arm and trying to bend him backwards. And Marvel go flying forwards. Her bring her hands up and pulling Thanos into a chokehold. As there actually is the Hulk, who does go rushing forwards. Right now, him going to actually smash into Thanos as he does punch him across the face. And they're also going to bring up his left hand. Right now, him grabbing it and beginning to power up the gauntlet, blasting Hulk and singeing him across the face. As the Mad Titan, he is beginning to dig his hand into Hulk's eye, and Hulk going to scream out, bring up his left hand and smashing him across the face again. Right now, him seeing him flying as he would drop Jennifer Walters. And now She-Hulk does it to bring her hand up, her gasping for breath as she is a lot more alarmed. The Mad Titan was angry. The Mad Titan did quite a bit, but last time he wasn't this way. Thanos is here for a lot. He knows he can win. He's desperate. And right now Hulk, he has a somewhat sit there, half of his face burned as he is trying to get his bearing. And there actually is Izuku, who does go from trying to sort out all of his comms communications and chatter to turning back to the Mad Titan. And he does it to get ready. Currently, him waiting for an opening. As there actually is Thor. Thor does fly back in. Right now, him throwing out Mjolnir as also flying at the Mad Titan. Currently, Thanos bringing his hand up and blasting it with the Power Stone. And the Uru and the Element do begin to meet. Right now, Thanos bringing his hand up and blasting it with full power. Thor's hammer beginning to slow down a bit. And he will get a somewhat sidestep the attack as Thor, he would fly forwards. Right now, him rushing at Thanos and throwing his hands up. And the Mad Titan, he does be struck in the back as Thor would have turned and move out of the way. And there actually is Izuku, who will get a rush forwards and fly forwards. Him bringing up both of his hands and clocking into the Mad Titan. Right now, the Mad Titan, a lot more surprised as he's flying over and his back is injured on the hammer. Right now, him being flown through the air by Deku. And Deku, he has him flying in, burying the Mad Titan into the ground. And Thanos, he does begin to actually bring his hand up. Him grabbing at Iron Man as Deku would bring his hand up and grab Thanos by his left hand. Him pushing it up into the air as the Mad Titan sent a blast through and up into the air into his own troops. And this blast, it is going to go directly up into space. And Deku will bring his left hand backwards, clocking Thanos across the face and bring it backwards again, clocking him across the face again. And the Mad Titan, he would do one thing. He would go to turn his hand and simply just flex his arms together. Remember him trying to sandwich Deku in his arms. And this does mean quite a bit. Deku flying backwards and teleporting away. Thanos, all more alarmed, as Deku he would reappear backwards and farther away from him. Currently, him next to Captain Marvel. And Deku would turn, asking exactly what type of powers she has. Because right now, he's dealing with advanced technology. And Marvel would go to express. She's got a lot of power. Though, she can absorb power, but that's more dangerous. Does he got any ideas? I got a few. Though we need Thor. Do we? We do. Do you think that they can hold him back for a few minutes? A few minutes? I don't know. Whatever you're planning, you gotta get it done fast. Though, I can buy you a few seconds. What do you need? I just need a minute. Deku's just trying to think. Deku building the schematic in his mind, and his suit is beginning to respond. Currently, Deku's shoulder beginning to open up along with the back part of the armor and the shoulder. And currently, there is where a massive cannon does begin to be constructed. It then going towering up into the air and lowering itself down. Right now, Marvel turning her head as she did a fly in, watching the cannon sit near the massive gear on Deku's shoulder. And Deku, he does just gonna sit there in the air, him having his targeting system active. And there currently was the Earth's heroes, who were trying to take on Thanos. And we do currently have where Thanos, he has a turn, bringing his hands up and clapping together as hard as he can. And Hulk, he isn't flying backwards by the force, bringing his hands up as his feet are burying into the ground, him covering his ears. And there's a blast from Turkey in the chest as Hulk isn't flying through the city street. Right now, him being sent flying through buildings and colliding down somewhere else. Right now, a building collapsing onto the Green Menace. And there actually is Thor. Thor, he does sit there dazed and confused for a second. Him climbing back to his feet as he was a step forwards, expressing to the God of Thunder. He is the Mad Titan. He has killed many men, many people. And Thor, he is a get back up. Right now, him holding on a Mjolnir and bringing it up. Him throwing it up into the air and trying to smash it down to Thanos. And Thanos is going to bring his hand up, grabbing on to Odin's hand. Him going to actually begin to actually put more pressure down as he has a turn and break Thor's arm. Thor letting go of the hammer and having it fall to the ground. Currently, Thor bringing up his right hand and grabbing Thanos by the face, beginning to electrocute him. And the Mad Titan, he does begin to laugh. He has dealt with many foes, many threats, though this certainly is interesting. Right now, Thanos beginning to pick up Thor and smash him down to the ground, smashing him over and over again to his hammer. And Thor's helmet does go to break. Currently, Thanos smashing his head down over and over again into the hammer, because he can't pick that thing up. And Deku, he does have his targeting system aim and fire. Now, Deku does go to actually send out a massive attack, and Thanos, he heard a sound. He didn't know what it was. However, it is going to start flying towards him as the Mad Titan will get a turn. Seeing Iron Man sitting there as he is going to be pushed backwards, and he is trying to at least stay where he is. And this does mean quite a bit. Right now, Marvel watches the beam fly through the air as the Mad Titan will get a turn, bringing his hand up and blasting it with the Power Stone. And currently these two beams do go to collide. And the moment they do to smash together, they do create a massive sound wave. And it shook the entirety of New York. And people, they felt that. And there actually is Izuku, who is pushing the suit to 100%. The suit has a lot of unknowns, but this is the biggest unknown. And Deku, he currently is seeing that beam out focused. And Thanos, his beam is wild. Currently, Deku's beam cutting into it and blasting through the Power Stone's attack. It smashing directly into the Mad Titan's chest and destroying part of his armor. The Mad Titan being sent flying backwards and smashing onto the ground. As Deku, he does just don't sit there. His armor beginning to tell him. Recharge currently commencing. 60 seconds. 59, 58, and Deku, he would begin to deconstruct this massive weapon. Currently it sitting on his back partially as Deku would go flying forwards, and Marvel does go flying over, making sure that the God of Thunder is still alive. And Thor, when he is pulled back to his feet, he would bring his hand up and onto his arm. Deku flying right past him as Thor would see that. Currently Thanos getting back to his feet as Deku would bring his left hand up and uppercutting the Mad Titan. Deku going to actually bring his right hand up and smash Thanos across the face again. And currently Deku, he is continuing to fly forwards. Him aggressively beating into Thanos as the Mad Titan would bring his left hand up. Currently him blasting Deku directly in the chest as Iron Man isn't flying backwards. Deku smashing down into the ground. And Thor climbs back to his feet as Marvel so flying in. Right now her bring her hands up and Thanos would blast out at her. Her flying left and dodging from the attack. Her bring her right hand up and blasting out towards him. And Thanos, he is sent blasting backwards by the attack. Currently him still with the wound Iron Man created. And Deku, he has a flip back over. Currently him a lot more alarmed. Getting back up. He actually felt that attack. And his armor integrity, it went down just a bit. Though he's still alive. Thanos, he did quite a lot to Earth, to everybody around them. He is the reason why his parents disappeared. He killed half the beings in the universe. He can't let Thanos get off this battlefield. And Deku, he does climb back to his feet. Currently, somebody flying overhead and staring down at Deku. And Deku, he'll get a turn. Ironheart trying to at least express to Izuku that she's here to help. And Deku, he does try to tell her, save people, help evacuations. Thanos is out of her league. Her turning, staring at Captain Marvel as one of their actions Thor, who does climb back to his feet and turn, flying back into the fight. Now, Riri does try to argue, but Deku, he does a turn. Right now him blasting away as they're actually using the Hulk, he does come flying through the air. And this, it does sort of alarm her. Her gonna watch on. As one of the heroes do be to try and lay into Thanos. And there actually is where Thanos, he has to stand there. Right now him going to turn and see Iron Man fly towards him. Him bringing his hands up and then going to do something with the Power Stone. Him bring it up and then gonna lash it from left to right. Currently him sending an entire wave directly through the air. And this purple wall of energy is going to fly towards the heroes. Deku bringing his hands up and creating a shield. As you know, there actually is Captain Marvel, who does gonna bring her hands out and blast directly towards it. And there actually is Thor. Thor would bring his hands up and throw his hammer at it. Right now him trying to be ready for this attack. And there actually is Izuku. His shields are going to take on the attack. Right now them beginning to break and shatter as Deku would send his hand up, flying his shield towards it. And Thanos, he does begin to actually float into the air. Deku ripping Thanos towards him using something instead of the armor. And Thanos, he does begin to fly towards Deku. As Deku, he does actually have those pieces of the shield flying at Thanos and one of them actually stabbing into his shoulder. Thanos screaming out as Deku would fly forwards, bring his hands up, smashing the Mad Titan in the throat. And there actually is Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel does not stand there, energized by this beam. However, right now she is concerned. She is trying to maintain control. Absorbing too much power is a bad idea. Going binary could be catastrophic. It could have untold devastation. And this does mean quite a bit. Her yelling at Iron Man to send him her way. And Deku, he would turn. We're now him going to actually fly backwards and bring his hands up. We're now Deku using the gravity machine inside the armor and ripping Thanos up into the air. And currently, there actually is where she has to fly forwards. Bring her hands up as Thanos would bring his hands up as well. Him throwing his hands out and grabbing onto hers. Right now her bearing a beam into his face. And Thanos would throw his hands out and break her arms. Currently, her screaming out in pain as she would throw her foot up, smashing Thanos in the chin, drawing blood from the Mad Titan. And Deku, he does actually don't stand there. As right now Thor, he does throw his hammer out. Now, Marvel is able to get away from Thanos, currently her flying backwards and bleeding from her wounds. And this is not very good. Currently, Deku flying by and bringing his hand up. him staring at the injuries as he returned back to the Mad Titan, trying to tell Carol to get to safety. And Danvers is not happy. She can still fight, but right now, this is not good. And there currently is Riri, who would go turn and fly off, trying to handle some of the other threats that are currently being posed. And Deku, he does have a radio in. Currently, Thanos, watching as Thor, he does come flying towards him. However, before he can focus on Thor bringing his hand up, he is tackled by the Hulk, and Hulk will pick him up and bury him into the ground, bringing back his fist and smashing it into the Mad Titan's face, yelling about how he made Hulk angry. Now, Hulk is pissed off, and Deku, he has to do one thing. He does go to inform Riri as to one simple fact. Right now, Deku floating there in the air, that he does have something that she can use, though she does need to be careful. It's pretty damn powerful. And Riri, she's a bit concerned, as right now there is over in Wakanda. Deku deployed much of his armory, and currently one suit does begin to fly up into the air. Currently, it would actually change its course from protecting Wakanda to flying towards New York. And Deku tells her quite simply, the Thor Buster is on its way. And Riri has several questions. Now, Deku going to turn back to his fight with Thanos. And currently, as the Mad Titan throws his punch out at Thor, throws his punch out at Hulk, Hulk going to bring his hand up. The two colliding blows and sending shockwaves to the area. Right now, him bringing his hand back up and blasting out at Hulk. Hulk bringing his hand out and grabbing onto the Mad Titan's shoulder. Him sitting there as the blast goes up, throw itself through the Hulk's back. And Hulk, he doesn't fall forwards. Right now, him suffering from some pretty bad injuries. And the Mad Titan, he believes that he took down their green monster. And this does mean quite a bit. Him being a smile. And there actually is Thor, who does go stand there with his hammer. Him rushing towards the Mad Titan. And Deku just come flying back in. Currently him smashing at Thanos' back as Thor would have bring his hand back, colliding across Thanos' face and sending blood flying through the air. And this does mean quite a bit. Deku still flying away with Thanos and going to turn his course up into the air. Him flying him up and then going to bring his hands around, grabbing onto Thanos and hitting his air brakes, blasting himself back towards the ground. Currently Deku doing an atomic suplex directly from the atmosphere down into the earth. Now, Thanos is a lot more alarmed, and currently Deku, he does lay there for a second in his armor. Him going to actually turn his hands around and begin to climb back up. And Thanos, he does actually stand there on his feet. Him expressing to Izuku, walking forwards and bringing his hand down, grabbing onto Deku's shoulder and pulling him up into the air. He is quite the remarkable human. To think, somebody else under the moniker of Iron Man, more worthy of that title. No, somebody who is actually capable of harming the Mad Titan. He has not had a wound like this in some time, though it is quite intriguing. Who exactly is he? And Deku, he doesn't stand there, bringing his hand up and using a rocket to accelerate his fist hard. Currently him sending it flying at Thanos as the Mad Titan would bring his hand up, catching it. And Deku, his hand is still moving forwards. Thanos is a lot more alarmed. And Deku, he's still going to create a bigger rocket and begin to force it forwards into the man's face. And right now Thanos, he's not happy. Though Izuku, he's going to tell him, he's Iron Man. Right now thing going to create itself on Deku's form and shooting up. Right now a plasma beam begin to shoot up and it'll be smashed in the back of Thanos' hand. It begin to rip through it as it does try to do a few things. And the Mad Titan would throw Deku down. Him a lot more aware. Him bringing his hand up and blasting out with the Power Stone. And Deku's shields will go to activate. Currently Deku sitting there inside the shield and bringing his own hand up, telling Thanos a few things. Him bringing up his right hand as the massive cannon will begin to fall down to his shoulder, and Deku will go to brace it onto his arm, building it onto his arm and blasting at Thanos, breaking those old shields and hitting the Mad Titan and flying backwards. And Thor saw that attack. And there actually is the Hulk, who does go to climb back to his feet after his injuries regenerated. And he is angrier, madder. His rage is beginning to get hard for him to keep a handle on. Purple Man. All he knows. Purple Man. Smash Purple Man. That's on his mind. And Bruce Banner is trying to keep the Hulk centered. Make him more aware of that rage. Point him in the right direction. And this is all the Hulk needs. Currently, when there actually is Izuku, who does just want to sit there for a second, a lot more alarmed. Him a little tired. His body aching. His suit is putting itself through the damn paces alright. And Thanos? Being able to stand toe-to-toe with the Mad Titan. It does say quite a bit. He's surprised. Though the output he's using, it does mean quite a bit. And currently the suit we're going to tell him. Restoration is currently at 98%. Suit integrity is rising beyond 80%. Power capacity is at 70. And Deku, we're going to ask the armor one question via his mind. He wants to know what would happen if he hits Thanos with 20% of the charge. And the suit, it does begin to run the numbers. Deku climbing back to his feet as Thor does a stare at Iron Man. Right on the back of his suit beginning to regenerate. And this, it does surprise the God of Thunder. Because Iron Man is proving to be invincible. And that, it does make the God of Thunder smile. The boy stood toe-to-toe with him at one point, but now he is standing toe-to-toe with a Titan. That makes him a worthy adversary. And the man, he does begin to grin. Thor bringing his hand up to his arm and going to actually force the bone back into place. Him screaming out and then going to bring his hand up. Him closing his hand to a fist and getting ready. And Thor does a flying back into battle. And there actually is Thanos. Thanos, he does going to get back up. Currently him shaking off the attack and actually wiping the blood from his mouth. Angry, enraged. And this does mean quite a bit. And we do currently have somebody who's wearing some headphones. And he does have his mask pulled up. Him eating a chimichanga and making his way downtown. Wade Wilson. AKA, drum roll please, Deadpool. Merc with the mouth. Yeah. He is just happy to be here. And currently there actually is Thanos, who would go to turn his head and see the Merc in the black and red suit. And Deadpool, he's going to turn his head looking at the Mad Titan. Him bringing his hands up and pulling off his headphones. Telling Thanos, it's been a long time. Though, he does have to ask a few questions. And Thanos, we're going to bring his hand up. Him blasting with the Power Stone as Wade, we're going to teleport away. Him teleporting behind Thanos and expressing, it's not going to be that easy. Wade smashing his chimichanga, looking at Thanos' eyes. The sriracha burning into them as Deku does him flying in. And currently Wade, he would have jumped backwards. Him bringing his hand down and into his pocket. Him pulling out an RPG. And Deku does stare at that kind of confused. Wade bringing it up and blasting into Thanos' back. And Thanos, he would actually get a turn, staying there unfazed by the attack. And Wade would going to do one thing. Right now him going to actually pull something out of his pocket and set it down. And Deku's confused. Right now him staying there as he does get ready. Bring his hands up with his missile systems as Thanos does a fully face Wade Wilson and ignore him. And Wade, he does could actually bring his hands down into a... What the fuck? When did that get there? Wade rummaging around, telling Thanos, give him a second. Okay, so let's see. No, this doesn't work. Okay, so what about this? Him pulling it out and blasting it at Thanos. Currently the Mad Titan being sent flying backwards and smashing through a car. And that does mean quite a bit. And Wade, we're going to throw this back down there, talking about it. Okay, so, yeah, no, that was a one-off thing, so let's see. When did this Velociraptor get in his bag? I'll save that for Taco Tuesday. And putting it back in there. Okay, he knows he's somewhere in here. Shit, did the writers... No. He knows it exists. Here it is. him pulling it out. And Thanos, he does just sit back up enraged. Right now, him bringing his hand up and ripping everything away from his face. Currently, him pulling off of his helmet and throwing it down to the ground, yelling at Wilson that he will have Mistress Death and that she will be his bride. And Wade would do one thing, stepping forwards and holding up a stone in his hand, talking about it. Come on, Thanos. Besides, Lady Death isn't into him. Though she is into him bringing his left hand up and leaning backwards, talking about how he does so in his stand, the Sentry with the Continuity Stone. And Deku is highly confused. Astronaut Man does go to somewhat stand there. A brilliant flash of light as he would stand behind Deadpool floating in the air, his hair flowing in the wind and blonde, and his eyes radiating energy. And Deku stares at this kind of alarming, because he doesn't know who that is, or what that is, let alone the fact that another stone existed. And Wade, he would bring his hand up, expressing, obligatory reference here, as the Sentry does a flying forwards at Thanos. And Thanos would bring his hand up. Currently, him and the Sentry colliding fist as they do to shake the entire area. Deadpool being sent flying backwards as Deku does bring his hands up to block himself. And this is alarming. Currently, Deku's shield's going up as the blast has sent Deku flying backwards through the air. And Deku, he does try to survive. Currently, him smashing into a building as his activated air brakes. And currently, Deku does also sit there for a second, trying to gain his breath, gain his bearing. And Izuku, he does just sit back up. Him patching to some comms and asking Wade, what the fuck was that? And Wade will go to express, right, so, funny story. It's weird, well, it's sort of not really funny, but it's a whole thing. Listen, he's just here to help. Besides, he's used to dealing with this big purple testicle himself. You know, if you had something like that before, Wade, you really should have said something. You alright? Not really. Though, I'm fine. We have to take down the Mad Titan. Right. No, trust me. Wolfie's on the way. Wade bring his hand up. And currently, he is at teleport right now in front of Izuku, expressing, bending down, though he's pretty sure that the God Killer should do a lot more. What are you talking about? Him climbing to his feet. He's just saying. He's got the tech. He's got the imagination. So use the imagination. Besides, hasn't he heard the term, bigger is better? I mean, that's what the ladies always say, right? Wade, you dumb. You're onto something, aren't you? Why? Wait, I'm on something? No, I'm not. I have a healing factor. No, you idiot. You said something smart. Deku teleporting away. And Wade does turn his head. A lot more surprised, because he's pretty sure that should not be able to do that. Now, currently Deku would arrive back on the battlefield, and there actually is a Sentry. Currently him smashing Thanos across the face as Mad Titan will go to turn, bring his left hand up, blasting out the Power Stone, as Sentry would bring his hand up, throwing Thanos' hand up into the air. Him blasting out his fist, jerking at Thanos and flying backwards. And this does mean quite a bit. Now, Thanos doesn't stand there, currently blasting out his hands and beginning to blast at the Sentry. And the Sentry, he does stand there blasting at Thanos with his own energy. And this does mean quite a bit. And Deku would fly forwards, turning his head, yelling at the Sentry to keep Thanos still for a few minutes. He's going to charge something up, though keep him in the area. Now, the man will get a turn, nodding his head as he turn back to Thanos, unleashing more and more power. And Izuku, he does gonna do one thing. He does gonna fly up into the air and get things ready. And right now, he is building the blueprint in his head. Bigger is better. Right. Currently, the back of his armor beginning to shift and change, along with beginning to open up. And Deku is gonna think, bigger. Currently, this thing beginning to actually build onto his back. along with it taking form and then gonna actually build itself up past his head. And then Izuku just have it fall forwards and sit onto his right shoulder. Currently, wire is gonna hang down along with it being connected to the power source. And Deku, he does have the idea. Currently, the Sentry flying forwards as it smash into Thanos, along with Thor. Or now Thor flying back in and smashing into Thanos, bringing his hand up and smashing into the Mad Titan's face. And Thanos would bring his hand up, grabbing Thor by the arm. Thor flying his head forwards and smashing it directly into the Mad Titan's head. Currently, blood flying from it as Thor was to bring his left hand up and smash him directly across the face with Mjolnir. And this has been quite a bit. Currently, the two Goldilockses flying in to take on the Mad Titan. And the two are going back and forth, where both of them sending punches and blows into the Mad Titan. As the Sentry, he is going left, and right. And Thor, he is changing off his hands, smashing the hammer across Thanos' face. And this does mean quite a bit. As there actually is the Hulk. Hulk, sadly, things have not been good for him. The Sentry has a light that can calm him down, and currently he has turned his attention away from this. He was told by Banner what to do. And right now, there's a lot of other things to smash if Hulk is in the mood for it. And he simply smiled. Now, currently this has mean quite a bit of things. And there actually is Izuku, who he is done building the device currently on his shoulder. And he is trying to plan things out accordingly. If he can get this just right, he can take out the Mad Titan. He can save the planet, save the world. And it does mean quite a bit. Now, currently, while Sentry and Thor are laying into Sentry and Thor are laying into Thanos, there actually is the mutants. Some begin to arrive. Currently Nightcrawler popping in as he would turn. Him turning and going to pop away. Him going to pop back in as he is standing there with Logan, expressing that right now there's a lot going down. However, what is he going to do? Stand back, kid. Listen, make sure to get people out of here. Make sure people are safe. Besides, I got a lot to do with this bub. Right now, him going to turn back, expressing that right now he's about to do something not so nice. So they might want to get away. Really far away. Now, right now Wolverine does get to run into the battlefield. Him running towards all the shaking and booming that he does hear. And this does mean quite a bit. Now, we do actually have where Thanos, he does just stand there, bringing his hand up and clocking the Sentry across the face. Currently the Golden Man going to turn back and bring his hand up. Thanos throwing out his left hand and smashing the fist into it again. However, the Power Stone is being actually let out energy. Currently, Thanos letting out a full-powered beam as it's going to blast away and hit the entire city block. Now, the beam, it does blast the Sentry away, along with Thor. We're not him being sent flying backwards and smashing into the ground. Him going to get back up as Thanos is going to fly forwards. Well, he is going to walk forwards, my bad. Currently, the Sentry flying backwards and smashing into the ground. Him sitting there and trying to just think, to maintain control and not listen to that voice in the back of his mind. And that voice is creeping in more. It's whispering into Robert's head that it needs to be let go. It needs to have him let loose. It needs to do quite a bit. And this does mean quite a bit. Thanos right now walking forwards and bending down, grabbing onto Thor and pulling him up by the cape, expressing that the Earth's mightiest, Thanos letting him go and smashing his right hand down. Currently Thor being impaled on Mjolnir are not worthy of him. And he does just not stand there. As there actually is Logan, who would go to climb out of the rubble and talk about it. About how he's all just a big mean bully, isn't he? I'm going to turn. As Wolverine, we're going to express. He's heard quite a lot about him from Wade. Or Deadpool. Doesn't matter which. Thanos annoyed. Him bringing his hand up and blasting out at Logan. And Logan would bring his hands up and pop his claws, turning them as he would try and block the attack, as right now the skin on his hands, along with the flesh and blood, being blasted away. And Logan, he is redirecting the beam partially, but still taking quite a lot of the attack, running the skin beginning to melt off of his face. And this does mean quite a lot. And this is where Deku, he would have teleported in. Right now him would actually pop away from midair and arriving directly behind Thanos. And Deku, he would have bring his right hand up and blast out at Thanos. Now, Thanos will go to turn, hearing that sound as right now the part of his right shoulder is get popped away, and the Mad Titan would have scream out. And there actually is Logan. Logan would have fall forwards. Right now him begin to regenerate as the moment he looks out of his eyes, he has to look back up. The skin on his face begin to regenerate. As right now him, mostly as a metal skeleton, does begin to move forwards. And as his feet do begin to regenerate, along with the flesh on his arms, torso, and legs, he does begin to move forwards fast. And Thanos, he has to bring his hand up. Him grabbing the area where most of his shoulder used to be. And this, it does mean quite a bit. Currently him going to turn and see Iron Man. A lot more annoyed. And Deku, he does just don't sit there. Right now him trying to just recover the energy from that attack. As Thanos would bring his left hand out, turning to Iron Man. And there actually is Logan, who would come in. Right now him stabbing his right hand directly up and into Thanos' shoulder. As he would bring his hand up and pop his claws into Thanos' arm. Right now him going to actually slash both of them up and down at the same time. And Thanos' left arm does come off. The Mad Titan having his left arm come clean off as he does go to turn. Right now him going to actually fall to the ground in a lot of pain. And Logan would bring his hand up and pop his claws into the back of Thanos' shoulder blade. Him watching them pop forwards as Deku would stand there. And this does mean quite a bit. Now, heroes do begin to hear about what's going on. And on the battlefield right now, calm communications are coming back in. The Mad Titan is down. He no longer has the gauntlet. And Doctor Strange, he would turn. Him casting a spell and having a portal open up. Right now him seeing the area as Thanos is there. Him heavily wounded along with missing an arm. And currently Strange are going to open up a portal. Right now a portal opening up after his severed left hand as it's going to fall through and smash into the Sanctum Sanctorum. It with a Power Stone in the gauntlet. And this does mean quite a bit. Now, Deku, he just don't stand there. Right now him with a Mad Titan on his knees and in front of him. Down both of his arms and with wounds that would be fatal if he wasn't for himself. Any lesser being would die, but the Mad Titan has been through quite a bit. Izuku has heard the stories. He's heard quite a lot of things. The data his suit provides? No. Everything his suit tells him. If he can put out this much power, and Thanos can withstand it, shrug some of his blast off, it means quite a lot. The Mad Titan needs to die. And currently Deku, he would have that cannon on his shoulder could actually pop back up and begin to actually shoot down. Right now Deku aiming right at the Mad Titan. And Thanos, he doesn't sit there. And Captain America will get a radio in and trying to inform Izuku, "Stand down, soldier, stand down!" And Deku, he does stand there. Right now him with a choice. Destroy the Mad Titan. Kill him. End all of this. Or let him go. Let him leave. Let him live. And right now there actually is Captain America, who does come walking to the battlefield. And right now, there actually is the God Killer armor, Izuku Midoriya. He does walk past Captain America. Right now him bringing his hand up and talking about a few things. As right now he does have a cannon smoking on his shoulder, telling Captain America, Thanos is no longer a threat. It's simple. If he allowed him to live, a lot would have happened. And right now there actually is Captain America, who would turn and fully yell at Deku, telling him about what he did. Izuku disobeyed a direct order, and Deku would go to bring his hand up. Right now him bring it to Captain America's face and telling him, he's not a goddamn Avenger. And this, it does get Captain America off guard. Izuku expressing, this is exactly why he's not an Avenger. He doesn't play by his rules. If he'd left that man live, he'd come back here and try again. And that is the difference. Now, Thanos' forces are beginning to be driven back. The moment that Mad Titan was injured to an extreme, people, they began to take notice of that. And his forces were either given one simple choice: fight for Thanos or die, or retreat and be met as a coward. Though right now, whenever Thanos was killed on the battlefield, it meant quite a lot. It changed everything. Some of the forces began to retreat. Ground forces, they were done. If something killed the Mad Titan, it will kill them. It will not leave them alive. And right now, they do try to give their own retreat. Heroes, they continue to battle whoever is trying to fight. And this, it does not last very long. In New York, it has been met by massive amounts of devastation, massive amounts of damage. The entire world has been met with this same amount of damage. And currently, there actually is Izuku. Izuku had a lot going through his mind. Riri got to test out the Thor Buster. Izuku had the God Killer armor and used it to the fullest extent he could. He showed off what it was. And this was certainly something. Now, New York is beginning to be rebuilt. And currently we do cut to about a month later, where a meeting has been called at Avengers Tower. And this means a lot. Iron Man called the meeting. And currently the Avengers, they all show up. Some of them still licking their injuries and trying to gain their bearing on a lot. And there actually is Izuku. Izuku, he does stand there in the room. Right now his faceplate, not on his face, along with the area covering his head and neck, exposed. And Deku does stand there. He does stand there because right now the Avengers, they were going to put it up to a vote as to how to deal with Iron Man. Though, the topic was dropped quickly. Everybody in the room had their own concerns. The team expressed a lot, and even Tony pointed it out. The Mad Titan killed half of the universe. He threatened their planet, and he would have killed all of them. Letting Thanos go, it may not have been a good decision, but killing the Mad Titan and stopping his threat was certainly one that he doesn't see as a bad thing. And Izuku, he does stand there. And he does try to tell the Avengers. He doesn't need to express anything. He doesn't need to explain himself. The Mad Titan attacked Earth. He attacked with a full extent and knowledge to kill all of them. He took him down. He made sure the Mad Titan could not hurt anybody else again. He had assistance from Wolverine. And that was good. He's played by their rules for a while. He's done quite a lot. Though, he's stepping away from New York. And some of the Avengers do sit there. Currently Thor going to try and stand back up. I just don't still have the wound from Thanos. Him standing and going to wince, talking about it. How invincible Iron Man's walking away. And Deku would return. Because he called him, what? You have your own moniker. You earned a warrior's name. You fought valiantly. And you took down the Mad Titan as if he was a threat. I must say, even the warriors of Valhalla would be speaking of your name. Thanks, Thor. Though, I'm stepping away from New York for a few reasons. There's a lot of heroes here. Honestly, I don't know. I'm gonna leave. I've thought about it for some time, and I've already wanted to try and get back into a few things. Follow my own path. What do you mean, kid? Deku turned to Tony, and Tony does sit there, turning his chair back to Deku. And Deku would go to express. Before he met Tony, he thought about starting a company. He thought about trying to be the next Tony Stark. They're both futurist, and hopefully, whenever they do meet again, it's in the competitive market. And currently, Izuku will get a turn. Him gonna walk away, and Cap will get a stand, expressing that Izuku needs to understand his actions. And currently, there's a step in front of Izuku. Deku gonna bring his hand up, telling Cap he really shouldn't try doing that. You're in a suit of armor. Is that it? What are you without it? Do you even know what you did? First is Thanos, next, who is it? Someone you disagree with? Another bad person? Another villain? Another threat? What is it, Izuku? It starts with good intentions, but it's a slippery slope. You killed. And it was Thanos. Now move out of my way, Steve. Otherwise, I will show you what I am without this armor. Is it a threat? No. It's a fact. I'm more than human. Now, do you want to find out? Trust me. You'll be shocked to know what I can do. Now, Steve would turn, getting out of Izuku's way, and Deku would walk right past. Currently, him walking outside and going to actually fly up into the air. Right now, him getting a phone call, as he will going to answer it. Hello? Hey, it's me. Hey, Wanda. Currently, I'm going to fly up into the air. And he does actually turn his head. Okay, so let's see. The coordinates he was given were that way. I'm going to blast off. And currently, there actually is Tony, who we're going to actually walk out and see Izuku off, watching the boy fly away. He's going to leave New York. Head west? Sure. There's a lot going on there. Though, it does make me curious. That armor. Certainly something. Maybe it's to achieve what he could do. Try and build one? No. His armor is good. But that armor, it's gotta be something else. Let the kid feel unique. Let him have that. And Curly Tony smiles, as Izuku does go back to his conversation with Wanda. It was twins? Yeah. The doctor said it was twins. I was surprised. Though, yeah, my sister is a little concerned too. I'm sure she is. I mean, me and her met briefly and now she's having a baby. Yeah, it makes me concerned too. I was dealing with a lot before all this. You're having a stranger's kid. Wanda, we've been talking back and forth for some time, but still, it's a lot. Did you want to leave Genosha? Hmm? Um, I've thought more about it. Right. No, I do understand. Listen, if it makes you feel better, Sasha knows a pretty good physician. Hmm? Yeah, her own personal doctor. Ah, certainly something. How's your dad feel about it all? He's not happy, though he's appreciated the help to rebuild Genosha, as begrudgingly as he is. He's been annoyed, and he does want to rip you apart. I don't blame him. Yeah, I don't either. Though, where are you heading to right now? Hmm? I talked to the Avengers. I got my point across. Though, I probably should talk to Riri. Ironheart. Yeah, her. It's been complicated. Though, I still need to talk to Sasha about my question. And how is that gonna go? Well, Sasha's my ex. She tried to murder me. She used to be a supervillain. and now she's gonna be more involved in my life, like you. Certainly something. Mm-hmm. Ultron, he certainly did a lot. And, well, other than T'Challa and your dad still being mad at me, I have a lot to do. A lot of people on my shit list. Pretty sure Captain America's mad at me. You murdered an intergalactic tyrant who may have killed quintillions. Quintillions. Yeah, whatever. But still, he's mad at that? I mean, it was Thanos. He killed my brother. Yeah, he killed my parents. Now he's gone. Honestly, I'm gonna talk to Sasha. Maybe talk to Peter if I can. I've got a lot of things to do. I've got a world to improve, bring into the future. I'm sure you do. Though, make sure to be aware of a few things. I will. I'll see what I can do. Though, you can extend the offer to Lorna and even your brother. What offer? The team. Whenever I get everything set up, and I do go through with it. I already had a few people in mind, though I'm not sure if she'd accept. Who? Aurora. She might. I mean, it's complicated for her too. It's complicated for everyone right now. Though I gotta go. Currently, Izuku landing outside a place in Texas. Or not him looking around the area as Sasha Hammer will go walking out. Her flanked by robotic guardians. And currently she will go to express, seeing Izuku. It does mean quite a lot. It makes her happy to see him. Hey, Sasha. We need to talk. You and I have to have a chat. About the baby. About more than that. You wanted to build the future together. Not just a future together. I'm listening. I want to do that. The world needs more. The world needs more technology. I want to help revolutionize everything. Go back to my dreams. I understand. And you want me to be an investor? Not necessarily. I want a loan. Really now? Well, it might come with some strings. Are you aware of that? We can sort out the details later. I want to focus on what I want to do. I know how to be a hero. I'm gonna be a different hero too. Sure you are. And Deku, you're gonna walk in. Currently him going to get out of his armor as it will gonna turn invisible and disappear with virtually no trace. And Sasha, we're gonna turn. Seeing that, asking Izuku, what he does plan to do with that? I don't know. Though the invincible Iron Man. And what is that? It's it's sketchy. Currently Deku walking into the house with Sasha. And currently Izuku has a lot of things to do. After Thanos' death, the world began to rebuild. It's done so before many times. Though right now Izuku, he wants to make it a world for his children. He wants to change it, improve it, follow some of his dreams, go back to them. Being Iron Man was a challenge, one he met and went full force into charging into. It has helped him with lots of things. It's helped his mind grow and expand to new horizons. But right now, Izuku, he wants to show everybody that horizon. Show them all what he can do. Not just be known as a hero. Be known as a man who helps to change the world, improve it, make it a world people can live in safely. Make it a world that, well, is closer to a utopia. It might change a little bit, but it won't be unrecognizable. He's aware of that. There's a lot his mind can do. And given the right tools, resources, and tech, there's a lot planned. Though Izuku, he definitely has a lot of things to juggle right now. Currently, he has to juggle Storm, Lorna, Wanda, and Sasha, along with even Crystal. And this certainly is one hell of a challenge, along with the idea of building his own company and, well, maybe even founding a team. Heading west, an idea that Reed recommended. Maybe not a bad one, definitely a good start. And with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed and have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part. Jesus Christ. Alright, my throat is definitely sore and very dry right now. I'm gonna get something to drink.